Small story here just to set the context so we can go from there. Okay? Just to help you understand what we mean when we say excellence. Okay? So once upon a time, like all stories start, there was this place of worship, a temple that was being constructed, okay, somewhere in India. And there was this sculptor who was sitting and chiseling a piece of rock, trying to create a idol, right? Now there is this foreigner who's come visiting the site, so he's going around trying to see what is happening in the site of construction. Okay? So he goes there, he stands next to the sculptor and he sees that he's creating this idol from that piece of rock. And as the image of the idol starts emerging in front of his eyes, he realizes that there is a identical idol that is lying next to him, next to the sculptor. Okay? So this guy gets a little curious and he asks him if you need two of these idols, because I see that you already have a completed one and you're chiseling away one more of it. So you need two. So the sculptor says, no, I don't need two. That is a piece that I have discarded. Okay, I've discarded, I'm starting over again, trying to recreate the same thing. So this guy says, what is the problem with it? So he says that there is a defect in it, there's a blemish, so I've discarded and I'm starting over, right? So he picks up, the foreigner picks up and he looks at the idol and he's not able to spot any defect in it. So he says, I'm not able to see any issue with it. Why have you discarded it and you seem to be going all over again trying to recreate it? So he says, look carefully, there's a small scratch in the nose of the idol. He says, there's a small scratch. So then this guy picks it up, holds it like real close, and then he's able to spot that there's a small scratch. So then the guy is like, oh, then is it going to be put so prominently in the temple that everyone who comes in is going to be able to spot it? Because I was not able to spot it on first sight, he says. So this guy says, no, it's going to sit on top of a 30 feet high pillar. So this guy's like crazy, yeah? If 30 feet high pillar, on top of that there is this small statue. On the nose of that statue there is a small scratch. Who possibly is going to know that there is this small scratch in the nose of the idol? He says. So the sculptor says, I would know. Right? He says, I would know that there is this small scratch, and that's something that would worry me forever in terms of getting the opportunity to create something blemishless and yet creating something that had a small scratch, and I put it up there, right? So that madness, that passion is what excellence is all about, right? So when we talk about meeting a benchmark, exceeding a benchmark, so when you're talking about these benchmarks and targets and all of that, if that is not ringing a tone of madness, then it is not possibly excellence that you're chasing. It's possibly just regular day-to-day work, day-to-day targets that you're chasing, right? And if that is what you're chasing, then this whole thing of Lean Six Sigma and all is not going to make possibly much sense, right? Because when we get to Six Sigma, what we're essentially talking about is 3.4 defects in a million opportunities, right? So that's like creating something which is virtually defect-free day after day after day after day for years on end, right? So